Good afternoon. I'm Dr. Valerie Dudley, and today's lecture is on my social identity. Well, really, it's on yours. The concept of identity is a complex one, and what I'm doing in this lecture is kind of giving you a little bit of a sample of one of the assignments that I've given you, where you're to create your own web page or your wiki that focuses on your actual social identity. When we talk about social identity, I'd like to start off with giving you a definition. Social identity is a combination of aspects of ourselves. It includes your age, your ethnicity, race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, nationality, and socioeconomic status. That makes us a part of various social groups. And that's just a limited group or categories. One of the things social identity does, it happens to inform some of the way that you believe and the way that you view the world. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But it informs how you lead, how you respond to other people, and also how other people respond to you. In Dr. Tatum's article, she talked about, again, the concept of identity as being one that's very complicated. It's a very complex concept. It shapes our characteristics, shaped by individual characteristics, such as things like your family dynamics, your historical factors, and social and political contexts. Who am I? The answer depends, in a large part, on who the world around me says I am. Who do my parents say I am? Who do my peers say I am? What message is reflected back to me in the faces and voices of my teachers and neighbors and store clerks? What do I learn about myself from the media? How am I represented in the cultural images around me? Or am I missing from the picture altogether? Social scientist Charles Cooley pointed out that other people are the mirror in which we see ourselves. This is the diversity iceberg model. And I like using this when I do diversity workshops, because it helps you to understand a little bit about what you see when you meet people. So like an iceberg, only 15% of an iceberg is what you see, above the water. And just like the same thing is that when you first meet a person, you make judgments about who they are or try to understand a little bit about them based upon what you first see. Things such as their race or their physical appearance or maybe their age, if you're guessing at what age they are and how they look as far as they look like to you. But then there's also what we call the waterline, and that's about another 10% of maybe that person's characteristics. Those are things that we tend to make assumptions about. You're not really sure. You can't necessarily see it, but you kind of make an assumption that, well, maybe the person, celebrates a religion. You make an assumption about the person's gender, maybe by the way that they dress, gender expression. You make a judgment maybe a little bit about their marital status. Nowadays, not everybody that's married wears a ring. But then there's a lot more to our social identity and other characteristics, about 75%. And as you see from the list below, or the list in the PowerPoint, things like your ethnic background, your education, sexual orientation, your hobbies and interests, political affiliations, your socioeconomic class, organizational memberships that you belong to, even your learning abilities. Those are things that we can't see initially, but it's so important because that's the rest of who you are. That makes up the rest of your own social identity. Culture is a lens or filter through which we see the world. it's also how the world sees us and how others in the world see us. When we talk about our cultural identity, things like our values, our beliefs, our behaviors, and expectations, things that we hold ourselves accountable for, but also how we also look at other people. And the same holds true for others as they look at us. So when we're from different cultures, we all have our own expectations, values and beliefs. And that's what we kind of look at and expect that other people may share those same things. One of the things that we have to think about is, like a lens. And people say sometimes that, you're wearing rose-colored glasses. Because we see things and see people as we see ourselves in a lot of ways. So we look at our own lens and our own background to inform that lens. And that's how we judge people. So if I come from a working class background, I may make assumptions about people that come from working class backgrounds or from rich people. I'm African American, so I look at it from a historical perspective from my community, maybe of what it means to be an African American. For an individual looking at from their sexual orientation or gender status, if they're a heterosexual male, they have a certain perspective that they look at. If I'm a trans woman, I come with a different, lens. If I'm American, I'm looking at someone that's international, different perspective. Also, if I'm lesbian, I will look at things maybe a little bit differently. So one of the things I want you to remember is that this is how we see the world. It's through these different social identity factors and through the lenses around it. So one of the assignments I gave you, again, I talked in the beginning, was to create a wiki. And I wanted you to use the I Am From poem template to help kind of at least flush out what your website would look like and what things to kind of include. So here's the basic template right here. And once you say complete each stanza by answering the question asked. There is no right or wrong answer to the question. You're going to be relying on your own personal experience because you're going to be telling your own personal story. Look at the list below, and it shows you it's I am from, and it says list all the things that someone would see if they walk into your home or into your apartment or room. I am from, list the sights and sounds from the neighborhood in which you grew up. I am from, list the foods that appear at all of your family gatherings. I am from, list 2 or 3 familiar sayings you heard from family members as you were growing up. And then I am from, and list all the people or groups who you feel were most responsible for you being who you are today. So I kind of did a little sample or example of what it is. So here's my I am from poem. I am from hunter green carpets on the stairs and throughout my living room. I am from leather furniture. I have a big comfortable leather chair and a leather sofa. That's my topsy-turvy doll and my blanket. I'm from Smokey. Smokey is my big fat cat who loves to lay on the furniture and run around and lay on the carpet. I am from African American art. Love it. I am from the sights and sounds of my community when I was growing up. You see young ladies out on the street jumping double dutch. So you hear, the chanting that goes with it. Kids running up and down the street playing basketball or dodgeball. You hear sirens, police and fire engines. The boombox is representative of the music. I grew up in West Philadelphia. Will Smith grew up in Winfield, and that's where I did. And we used to hear songs like Summertime. I am from collard greens, mac and cheese, fried chicken, barbecue ribs, fried shrimp, greens, black-eyed peas, candied yams. And this is my homemade bread pudding. Oh, it's delicious. Has a little bit of everything in it. I am from God would not put on you more than you can bear. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Work hard and study. I love you to the moon and back. Stop picking on your sister. One day she'll be bigger than you. And I am from my grandmother, Maine, my sister, Lynn, my mom, Kareve, my grandparents, who were ministers and they lived in Africa, and I'm from my church family. This is my team Healing Hands from St. Matthew AME Church. This is a team that raises funds for breast cancer awareness and breast cancer research. So as you can see with this assignment, I want you to have as much fun as you possibly can. Be creative. Show us who you are. Remember that your classmates will have an opportunity to see this. And so really tell us and share a little bit more about your own social identity. Thank you, and I look forward to seeing you in class. Goodbye.